Well, another guest on Acoustic Alternatives, live from Grove Studios. And Grove Studios is a great place. I have to actually show Aspen around a little bit. Grove Studios is a place you can put your band in. If you don't want to practice in your garage, you want to go somewhere quiet. It's not quiet when you're in there, but it'll be quiet for your neighbors. It's an awesome spot and very affordable, 24/7 keypad operation. And they've been hosting my podcast since I started doing it about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now. And I'm grateful to them because without Grove Studios, I'm not doing this. I was encouraged to do it by them. They said, we would love for you to do a podcast at our studios. Sure, why not? So here I am. So thanks to Grove Studios. They are a great host of this fine podcast called Acoustic Alternatives. And this is a reschedule of something that should have happened back in January. But it sounds like, actually, Aspen, this might be better timing because we're a little closer to the release of your forthcoming album.
Most definitely. Thank you so much, John, for having me. And this space is really nice. And I may take advantage of it sometime when I'm back in town.
I'll show you around after we're done. But Aspen Jacobsen is a young singer-songwriter that was turned on to you by some friends who worked with her on her previous album, Love Each Other Right. I will hold it up to the cameras so you can see what it looks like autographed. I have friendships with Brad Phillips, Rachel Davis, and Dominic Davis, who've all worked on this record. And the fact that they all saw something in you before I even heard of you says to me, oh, I need to be paying attention to what Aspen Jacobsen's doing. If they sat up and took notice, I also need to do so. So tell me a little bit about how you hooked up with those folks to work on Love Each Other Right.
Well, I met Rachel Davis at a music festival called Wheatland around 4 years ago, I think. Mm-hmm. And then I met Dominic, which is her husband. And I didn't really know that he was a producer. So we kind of hit it off, talked for a while, talked about music. And I think it was my dad who was actually like, Dominic's a producer, right? And I was like, really? And so then we set up a call and got talking, and he knew me so well. He knew what I wanted in my music and how I wanted it to be portrayed, what musicians I wanted, what feels to add to the table. And we really connected well on that level. And I think that's hard for some people to find, especially their first producer, to be someone who's so understanding and you feel like you can really connect with. But that was how it was with Dominic. And I'm really grateful for that. That was an amazing experience. And we're still working together.
For the new record?
Yeah. So I went out to Nashville and we recorded some songs there. And now I'm going to be recording in Big Sky over here.
In Ann Arbor, yeah.
Yeah, in the next week or so.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, that depends when this actually makes its debut on all the platforms.
Oh, yeah.
It could be today. You're at Big Sky for all we know. Well, what an impressive resume they have to even before they worked with him. I mean, Dominic's the bass player for Jack White. Mm-hmm. Brad Phillips, I saw on stage with Stevie Wonder. I mean, I've seen him many times, but like first chair for a Stevie Wonder show. Rachel's just got the most amazing voice in the world. So you chose a good crew to work with.
Yeah, they're all amazing, and I look up to them, especially Rachel. She was one of my many inspirations.
Yeah. Well, let's hear a song from the forthcoming album. It's just called Love Each Other. Or no, it's not called Love Each Other, right? Excuse me. What's the new album called?
I actually don't know yet. So it's going to be, I thought first it was going to be a collection of singles, and I was going to name it Singular Truths. But then the more songs that I wrote and the more I started recording, I was seeing all these different connections. So yeah, I guess stay tuned for that.
All right. So what's the first one?
Shouldn't Give a Damn.
All right. Aspen Jacobsen on Acoustic Alternatives.
3 a.m. caffeine. I don't want to fall asleep. 'Cause your misted over eyes are haunting my dreams. Sorry. Yes, it helped me, but hurt my guilty mind. Now you're cleaning up your ashes and what's left of your pride. And you don't even know who I am. You just take everything that you can. And I shouldn't give a damn. You think you love me, but you fall in love too fast. sweet and honest. 'Cause I need space to breathe. I don't have to hold you like you're porcelain. I don't have to treat you like a king. I'll give it to you straight and honest. 'Cause I need space to breathe. And you don't even know who I am. You just take and take everything that you can. You can. You don't even know who I am. You just take and take everything that you can. And I don't give a damn.
A song I think is going to be in your set for a long time to come. That's a great tune.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm glad it's not about me. You shouldn't give a damn. Aspen Jacobsen on Acoustic Alternatives, and one of the songs that will be on the forthcoming yet to be titled album, which could be called, I don't know, Acoustic Alternatives. No, just kidding. No, don't do that. So most of my guests have a little farther back to go when we talk about their lives. You don't have that far back to go, but let's talk about where you've been before we got here. Has Commerce, Michigan been your home your whole life, or have you lived elsewhere?
My whole life.
Your
I've
whole
lived
life.
in the same house my whole life. But I find that I've been moving around a lot lately, visiting friends from all over the place. I went to Interlochen Arts Academy before I graduated, and so I have friends from different countries, from different states, and I like to visit them and experience all these new cultures and diversity.
Yeah. Obviously, life is consumed by music at this point. Before you picked up an ukulele and played in front of people at the age of 9, what was life like? Like, what did you do for fun before that?
Normal kid stuff. I listened to a lot of pop music and classic rock. My dad loved classic rock. Now I have him on more bluegrass stuff. He picked me up from school and I went into the car and he's playing like Green Sky and I'm like, whoa, I love this dad.
This is the dad I always wanted.
Yeah,
No.
but I danced a lot. I did a lot of musical theater. I was just really into performing and performing for a live audience. So that's always been a huge part of my life. I did opera for a little while.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you still do that at all?
Not anymore.
Is the voice capable of doing it? I don't want you to do it right now because it'd blow you up. But
A little bit. But musical theater and opera, I just found wasn't the right way to go for me. It didn't really fit my voice. And I think my voice is pretty unique. And
yeah, it is.
so I liked to write songs that I could make just for my voice, that I could sing just for me and for no one else.
Okay, fair enough. So it seems like performing has always been like your destiny, really,
Yeah.
quite honestly.
Yes, most definitely.
Good. I'm glad you found your path. I mean, I'm still trying to find mine, and I'm quite a bit older than you. So it takes a while sometimes. What was your first concert experience, and how did it shape who you became as an artist? Do you remember your first concert?
Well, I think I do. Well, I did a lot of open mics, and I remember I would get up on the little stage that they have, and I'd talk a lot. I talk a lot about the songs that I wrote just in my bedroom, and I don't know if the stories were very interesting, but I talked a lot about them, and I'd go up there and I'd sing my song, and I'd get off the stage, and I loved just talking to people in the audience. And so after, I would connect all I could with the people in the audience, and I kept on going back. And I opened for Jill Jack, one of my mentors in my early ages, and she really helped me with my confidence, actually. And I didn't want to put on a CD release party. I was like, no one's going to come. And she's like, people are going to come, and who cares if they don't, you know? You're going to keep on drawing people in, hopefully.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. And so she really helped me with that. And I opened for her at the Arc, which was a huge...
I was there, actually. I may have brought you on
were?
stage, quite possibly. I did that a lot back then.
Yeah, well, I loved the Arc. That was like where I wanted to see myself. And so it was amazing to get up on that stage. And it was a huge crowd, so...
Yeah, cool. What about the first concert you attended? Do you remember the first concert you went as a fan?
I went to I believe it was Train in the Fray.
I may have been at that as well.
Really?
Quite honestly,
It was at DTE Energy.
Yeah.
And my dad and I won some tickets. We used our phone and we called when we heard it on the radio. And my dad just got this like new Samsung phone, and he was like, like this is gonna work great, and it did. So we scored those tickets.
Yeah.
And we went, and yeah, it was a good time.
Did that light anything in you as a performer? Like, God, I want to do that too. I mean, like, the kind of music they do and the kind of music you do are different things, but you still have to take it from experiences from seeing people at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it excited me, but I think that was before I really knew that music was the path for me. I think what really hit me the most was going to music festivals. And we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
But
not in front of people.
Yeah, Wheatland Music Festival was the first music festival that I ever went to. And to see all these performers, especially off stage at like 1 a.m, 2 a.m, still jamming. And they had these huge jam circles. And I was invited to come and go on the outskirts and watch. And sometimes I'd play along with my little mandolin, and I'd see performance on the stage, and I was like, wow, they're real singer-songwriters. They're talking about their music. They're talking about the stories behind their music. Mm-hmm. So it's more than just performing some songs for some people. It's a connection and storytelling.
Fair enough. Pre-going to Interlochen, you were in regular school, I assume? Maybe?
Yeah.
So did the people that you hung out with at school listen to the same kind of music that you did? Or, I mean, did you find yourself in kind of a divide there?
I feel like there was definitely a divide. I was like, no one really understands me. I had the musical theater group, which I enjoyed a lot. But, I mean, it was very high energy all the time. And I'm a little bit more of a laid-back person.
You are.
That was difficult, too. But I actually went to a grad party about a week ago, and I talked to some of the kids that I used to go to school with, and we talked about, what we did before I went off to music school and became this new person, or this evolved me.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was really fun to go back in time, but I feel like I've gone through a lot these past 2 years.
I think we all have.
And yes, I'm young, but I've been through so many life experiences. It was like college life for me, I guess, in a sort of way. And you can see that in my music. I've been writing a lot more activist music, stuff talking about activism. And I saw dark in the world, and I saw more beauty in the world. So I think that shows through my music and my songs.
I do hear maturity that is beyond your years when I listen to your stories and your songs. And so, yes, well done. Thanks, college. Thanks, Mom and Dad, I'm sure, as well. Mm-hmm. Perhaps even the experiences. I read something about you being a hospice volunteer at some point, which I imagine those are great audiences because they're captive and they're very appreciative.
Yes.
Did those experiences have any effect on your performing beyond there? Because that was probably pre-playing in open mics, was it? I don't know. I don't know where it fits in the timeline.
It was during the same time. And my grandpa, who passed away a few years ago, he had Alzheimer's. And sometimes I'd come in and sit down with my guitar, and I'd play him some songs that he remembered. And it's amazing how they kind of just spark up when you hit that one memory or that one song. And music is completely different, and there's tons of studies about it. It's super interesting about how music affects the brain. And even when you maybe can't forget your granddaughter's name, but you hear this one song and it just takes you right back. And I think that's so beautiful. And so that's how I started getting into it. And I've played tons of old time covers. So
there is music therapy. It's something you might even look into when you're headed off to round 2 of college. We'll call Interlochen kind of round 1. You're heading to, is it UCLA or no? USC.
USC.
University of South California.
Southern California.
Southern California.
Yes.
I've never been there. So perhaps they have something like that. I mean, if that really affected you deeply, it might even be something to look into as okay, not saying you're not going to succeed, but succeeding in the music business is very hard. So having a backup plan, something that you can make money at if this doesn't work out. And again, I think you've got the goods to work it out. Otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting across from me. But have a plan. just in case it doesn't, something else you would want to do. And maybe that's it. Maybe it's finding a way to bring people their memories back by playing music for them. And
most definitely.
You can make a living doing that. It can be done. So it has to start somewhere. And it sounds like, from what I read as well, that your musical talent didn't come from like your parents going, hey, we're musical, you should be musical. Or we have records on all the time. I mean, it seems like it just came to you without any like nurturing from your parents. Is that true?
I feel like a lot of songwriters, especially my age, are like, music has been a huge part of my life since the get-go, and I don't think that was my case. None of my family or extended family is that musical. I mean, my mom took a few piano lessons, and we had a piano in our living room, and I would sit down and I'd kind of tap on the keys, but that was about it. And so I think it was mostly influences around me that I had to search for. I had to convince my parents to go to music festivals. I had to look up old videos of Joni Mitchell or James Taylor because I didn't know who they were. So I guess I kind of found my own path.
If you have your own kids, you will be the nurturer of the music and the kids then.
Oh yes, most definitely. My kids are gonna have so many instruments. I'd be like, hey.
I just saw you recently at Trinity House in Livonia performing some of the songs that you've got ready for this next Untitled record. And one of them I wanted to ask about because it was pretty moving was Monday Morning. Tell me about that one.
I wrote that about a year ago when I was at school, and I wrote it about gun violence. We had this one class called Space at the Table where we talked about all these controversial topics like religion, gender, sex, and one of the topics was politics and gun violence. And so I sat down and that topic really hit home for me. I remember as a kid growing up, well, I guess I'm still kind of a kid, but I remember talking about lockdown drills, and we'd sit in the classroom and they'd share scary stories. And I remember some of the kids in the class would be crying, and I would be scared to go to school some days, and especially after drastic events or mass shootings. And I feel like now, more and more, they're being treated like natural disasters because they happen so often that we're kind of forgetting them in a way. And I mean, the Uvalde shooting was really recently, and I spoke about that at Trinity House before I played this song. But that really struck a chord in me. And the saddest part is every time I play this song, there's a new shooting to talk about. So
I think there were 13 this past weekend that we didn't hear about.
Yeah,
I just said that many shootings since Uvalde. Like, come on, really? I mean, yeah, we're in a bad spot. I mean, the worst thing I had to worry about when I was your age in school was a tornado drill. I never had a lockdown drill. Yeah. So your generation has been through a different thing than me.
Yes.
So the song is one I think you had planned to play anyway.
Yeah.
Aspen Jacobsen's on Acoustic Alternatives. This is called Monday Morning.
It's in a different tuning.
I'll let you handle that. I'm not good at tuning.
When I tune, it's usually when I do the intro, but...
Sorry. You could have talked the whole time.
Over the phone, I can hear them hold their breath. The silence fills the halls, echoes of gunshots her life, and her heart beats fainter these Monday mornings left in mourning. A careful facade, hiding internal strife, just a trigger away from showing the pain that he's felt all his life. And he's firing off his anger and rage with the bullets that fly past our faces, past our conscience and our constitution. And that's his life in the mind of a stranger. His life taking away more lives these Monday mornings left in mourning. These Monday mornings left in mourning.
Wow. Aspen Jacobsen on Acoustic Alternatives. Monday morning or mornings.
Monday morning.
Okay, could have been plural. And it's probably morning, O-U-R-N, not morning like it is morning right now for us. Okay. Heavy song.
Yeah.
I'm glad you don't have, as far as I know, any personal experience with being, involved with one and where you had to lock yourself down for real, not just a drill. So,
Thank goodness. But
yes.
every time I play the song, there's always someone in the audience that comes up to me after and talks about their own personal experience. And that really touches me and very hard to think about.
Sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad. Well, thank you for doing that. And thank you for telling me the story about how it was written.
Yeah.
Interlochen obviously would have a pretty big effect on your education, musically speaking. It's a great place to do that. I saw some video of you accompanying your fellow students at Interlochen. We put together little clips of you playing along with other people. And you've got obviously your own powerful voice and talent to playing your own songs. But as a side person, how difficult is it for you to learn songs that aren't yours?
It's one of my favorite things to do.
Really?
Yes. So whether it's doing covers in a little cover band at school, I've been in punk shows. I've been in Motown shows. I usually play electric guitar or do background vocals, and that's really fun because it takes me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I do some jazz improv with the jazz kids. They're insane though, so I cannot keep up, but it really helps me out. And from other songwriters and popular voice majors, sometimes I'm like, oh, come over to my dorm room and we can co-write a song together. Or I can help you make a part for electric guitar on this one song of yours. And we just sit there sometimes for hours just playing. And I think that's one of the most like quality time things I have with some of my friends at school, since we're all into art and we're all into music. And it's wonderful to be able to share that, because my friends at home, I love them, but we don't connect on the musical level that I connect on with my friends at school.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I've never asked anybody this, but what happens when somebody asks you to learn a song you don't like? Do you say no, or do you just learn it anyway? Because you can't like everything. I love music.
I make it something I like.
Okay.
Honestly, if I don't like a specific way things go, then I'm, hey, how about we go to this chord instead of this chord? And usually it's like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. Because if someone asks me to play on their song, they usually know that I'm gonna bring my own style to the table. And that's just like session musicians. Whenever me and Dominic ask a session musician to come in, they always have this different kind of signature taste that they bring. And whether it's something I like or something I don't like, I knew that going in and asking them.
Fair enough. Well, watching that video also reminded me of something that, I mean, I'm carrying one around just in case you wanted me to wear one, but you had to mask during a large portion of your schooling at Interlochen.
Yes.
Did that affect, I mean, the students, I imagine it affected everybody, but like the relationships that you had with your fellow students, because you couldn't see their faces most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got really bad at like doing like the fake smiles. So now when you talk to me, it's just like my real expressions, you know?
Yeah, you can hide. I worked at a bank for a little while, which is not something we're going to talk about for very long, other than one coworker liked the masks because she could hide her actual expressions to the customers that she didn't like.
Or I can just yawn in class all I want and not feel bad.
Yeah, right. Can't see that. No one knows about you. Kind of tough in your face.
But on a serious note, I think it did. And I mean, I'm a very connective person. I really like to read people and read their body language. And it's hard to do that without a mask. And I mean, thank goodness the mask isn't covering the eyes, because then that would be a real big issue. Yeah. But I also had to wear them for most of my performances. And so I learned...
awkward, because it sounds like this.
Mm-hmm. But I learned a lot about breast support, because it was a lot harder to sing in a heavy KN95 when you're belting serious songs on stage and be able to have the breast support to do that.
Yeah, you're not a delicate singer. You kind of got a big voice, which is a good thing. And again, another reason you're here, because you impress me. The USC choice as a college, why? What did they have to offer that nobody else had to offer?
Well, it was between Belmont in Nashville, Berkeley in Boston, and USC in LA. And I adore Nashville, but I feel like if I was going to go to Nashville, then I want to get my own apartment and just start doing gigs and co-writing with people. Mm-hmm. I didn't really want to go to school in Nashville. And so...
it would be a distraction, I think,
yes.
Is what you're trying to say.
And Berkeley's great. I went to their guitar summer program, and they actually gave me a scholarship to go to school there, which was really nice of them. And I thought about it for a long time, but my primary instrument would be guitar, and it would mainly be guitar work, which is something that I wanted, but I also wanted something more well-rounded as a whole. And there were so many people that go to Berkeley, which is good in a way, but it's also bad because you're not getting that one-on-one help from professors. And at USC, there's only about 6 songwriters that are accepted every year.
Really?
And so I like small, close-knit groups.
Me too.
I mean, that's what Interlochen was like. And USC also isn't just a music school. I mean, there's great business programs. I'm going to have friends who are lawyers, which is always helpful, you know. But I didn't want to be surrounded by music and art all the time for everyone, because then that kind of just consumes you. And sometimes you need people who just like bring you back to life as a whole and not just music.
Well, as it has evolved in the years that I've been in the music industry, being a musician isn't enough anymore. You need to be a business person. You need to know how to run your website and sell your CDs or whatever you're selling. There's a gazillion things that go along with, like, being a good songwriter and a good singer isn't enough.
Yeah.
You need to know how to run your music business, essentially.
And this sounds really cheesy, but when I got accepted to USC, it was my reschool, so I wasn't expecting to be accepted into the program since only so many people a year get accepted. And my dad and I were just like, well, why don't we go on and visit? And so he came with me and we got on a plane. And when we got to California, I kind of had this feeling that this was where I wanted to be and this is where I wanted to belong. So after we got off the plane, I was like, yep, I think I'm gonna go here. And we visited the campus. I talked to some of the professors, and that was amazing. Patrice Rushen, who helps run the contemporary music program.
Forget Me Not, Patrice Rushen, the artist who had a hit in the 70s. Dad was saying yes.
Amazing.
Forget Me Nots. Never, I'm not going to sing. Bad.
But she's amazing, and
cool.
she reminds me a lot of Courtney Kaiser Sandler, who teaches at Interlochen. And so I felt like it was going to be a great transition for me. And Courtney, Joshua Davis, some of my teachers at Interlochen, they were like, you have to go here. You have to. And so I decided to.
High five. Congratulations.
Yeah,
one of the only 6. Nice for you.
Yeah.
So I also noticed as I was exploring that your musical taste is obviously not necessarily what you perform. So you covered Tears for Fears. You covered Cage the Elephant, which are nothing like what you do. Is there a time that you said you've been in a rock band as a kid, right? You did some sort of a school rock band. Do you think you'll always stay in this lane, or do you think at some point you'll record rock records too?
For myself,
yeah,
as a solo artist, it's always going to kind of stay in the genre of Americana. I mean, I'm really interested in blues now. It may get more bluesy or more jazzy, I guess, but it's always going to have these roots, in my opinion. Well, I don't really know what's way down ahead, but this is how I feel like I'm leaning. But on the side, I love to do other genres, and I think it helps me in my own genre and realize that, yes, I'm on the right path, and this music resonates with me the most and resonates with my life the most. But sometimes I just feel like getting on a stage and dancing around crazy and playing electric guitar really low.
But you're having fun.
I am.
Again,
loads of fun.
I'm glad you found your path. I said that before, but I'm just jealous, I guess. How about another song?
Yes. Okay.
Tell me about this one. As you're tuning, this is how you do the tuning, talking and tuning.
Yeah.
That's good practice, by the way.
Thanks. So this one is called Escapism, and I also recorded this one. I recorded this one in Nashville with Dominic over the break. And Fats Kaplan plays fiddle on this, and pedal steel, which is really cool. And Dominic plays upright bass.
Surprise.
Yeah. He's great.
Yes, he is.
And I based a song off of a fiddle tune, actually, called Kitchen Girls. And one of my life mentors, Bruce Lang, who was actually at that Trinity House show that you saw, he taught me this modal version of Kitchen Gals, which I'll play before the song. But it was just like the perfect way to get into this song about escaping into dreams. And Mother of dreams, won't you comfort me? Lay me down, won't you lay me down? Away from truth, you beckon me in my crimson crown. Won't you lay me down? Sorrow has come and slit me open right here on the ground. Sing these notes and hope to leave soon. Hope to leave soon. Shadows will fade as I drift off singing this tune. How I hope to leave Lay me down, no, lay me down, why don't you lay me down, come on and lay me down, just lay.
Music from Aspen Jacobsen on Acoustic Alternatives. It's Escapism, correct?
Yes.
Since I don't have a song title in front of me, I have to try and do that from memory. Nicely done. Enjoyed that one as well. And thank you for playing that one, which is another one you did at Trinity House. I have to think about some other things that I was taking notes while I was watching. Like, what else was I going to ask her about? And I thought, isn't it a little weird to have a job where you get applause? Like, your job is to get applause, right? Essentially. Does that feel weird at all?
It's a little weird, especially when I'll be talking or I'll be thanking people at the end of the show, and after like every sentence, there's always applause. I'm like, okay, well, the goal is not to make you applaud, but
right.
Thank you. I do kind of enjoy the fact that it reminds me that they're in the audience, though, because sometimes I get drawn into myself, especially in the song, and the applause kind of snaps me out of it, or a specific emotion. A lot of the songs that I write are very personal and very emotional to me. And so when I sing them, I get kind of transformed into this different reality where I'm put right back in that moment and where I feel those things. And I mean, it shows through my facial expressions and through how I sing. But for me, it feels like I'm in a different place, a different emotional place. And so that applause always reminds me to snap out of it, and it kind of brings me back to my center. And then I go into my next song, I talk about it, and I zone out a little bit there, but then I come back. So
it's another thing I noticed, actually, because some people don't master the art of talking in between songs. Sometimes it's really awkward. And for your age, I mean, you did a great job anyway, but even just to consider, she's only 17 and she's this good at the stage banter? Because I remember seeing a favorite performer of mine who I'll leave unnamed, and she was not good at the stage banter at all. I'm like, God, you're such a good singer and a great songwriter. Like, I don't know. I've never been on stage to have to do that stuff. So to me, that seems like you'd get that down. She's better at it now. But yeah, I mean, for your age, high five again. You're doing great at that. You give us a little glimpse of who you are during your stage banter, which is a really cool thing, because in these intimate audiences, these listening rooms, we're going to connect with you better if we feel like we know you. So
yeah. Those are my favorite venues to play.
Well, of course.
I love having a connection with the audience and feeling like I know them, they know me. Mm-hmm. And I think the goal every time I go out onto the stage is to have people feel something. And I think hopefully they'll feel more if I tell them my own personal experience behind it. Mm-hmm. And for the songs that I don't really mention my own personal experience, it's me kind of wanting them to attach their own meaning to it and focus more inward instead of outward.
Yeah. You also mentioned that you have a bit of social anxiety, which I would think as a performer is a negative. I don't know, again, because I'm not a performer, but it seems like that career path doesn't mix well. I didn't notice it, though. I mean, as far as you saying you have it and me going, oh, yeah, I can tell. No, I couldn't tell.
It's mostly with peers.
Okay.
Especially in school or in classes, if I have to get up and I have to have a presentation or speak. But I mean, songwriting and talking about myself and my own personal experience is very easy for me, especially, I mean, since it's my truth and I'm just accepting who I am. And I think this is the most like therapeutic work for me to go down, because it's me reminding that I have my own unique experience and finding understanding with my audience where I may not feel understanding in normal life just walking by people in the city. But when I get up here and I share who I am, hopefully they like it. But if they don't, also, some people like it and I like it.
You couldn't give a damn.
And it's my truth. I don't give a damn.
As you started by telling me, you don't give a damn about me. No. Anyway, I found that confidence to say that out loud, and then like realizing that you've chosen a profession that not everybody's going to like you, no matter what you do. I mean, obviously people that come to see you on purpose are going to like you, but you're going to play festivals and people are going to go, ugh, and they're going to walk away. I don't know why, but they will.
And especially with my new music, since it's more controversial and since I'm learning more about myself and sharing more of my views and experiences, I mean, people aren't going to share that same experience, and I have to be okay with that and accept it.
It's a great maturity step. Actually, that reminds me of something else you said. You were talking about your song Georgia Boy, and you said, this song reminds me of my youth. And I said, what? You are still in your youth? Like, are you crazy? Because this is your youth, kid.
I know.
I don't even know what my youth is anymore. I'm too old to remember my youth. Anyway, you can enjoy your youth and then reflect on your youth as well.
Yes.
You mentioned some of the stages you've played. No disrespect to any of the stages that you've played, but which one is your actual favorite to play?
It's difficult because there's different.
I know, they're all great.
I love Course and Auditorium at Interlochen. Kresge Auditorium at Interlochen. Sometimes I'd wake up in the morning at like 6 a.m. when no one's awake because we're all teenagers, we don't wake up early. Yeah. And I'd go out with my guitar and I go into the auditorium, and it's this huge, gorgeous stage with these amazing reverb, and it's all, the sound waves are all bouncing all over the place, and I'll sit right in the center of that stage and I'll just play music for about an hour or two, and it's really loud, so I do in the morning when not many people can hear me and be like, stop playing, stop practicing. But that's really fun for me, and so many amazing people have played on that stage. Just before my classes, I actually saw Molly Tuttle and Old Crow Medicine Show play there, and Molly Tuttle is one of my
She's great.
Really good inspirations, and for guitar especially. And so it was amazing to see her on that stage, and then me to be playing on it the next day, just sitting there with my guitar, trying to flat pick a fiddle tune and be like, okay, wow, like she stood in the same exact spot.
That's cool. Maybe someday the Hill Auditorium in Ann Arbor will be a stage you get to stand on, because I hear it has some great similar acoustics to what you just described. So,
and you can feel energy in every room that you're in. You're like, I know someone played here.
Well, a friend of mine once said that she wasn't interested in winning at singing. How do you feel about the singing competitions that a lot of the people your age end up doing on TV? Does that, I mean, it probably doesn't appeal to you, otherwise you'd do it. But
it's funny that you brought that up, because the other day my mom was, do you want to audition for The Voice? You're doing open calls. She told me that yesterday, and I remember thinking about it for a second while I was watching TV, and then being like, no, that's okay. I don't really see myself as a singer or as a guitar player or even a songwriter. I kind of just see myself as an artist as a whole. I mean, I feel like it's just a part of me. I'm basically, when you go to a show, it's myself that you're going to see. It's not just a good singer or a cool guitarist. It's so much more than that. And so I felt like it kind of put me into a box that I didn't really belong in.
I don't think you need to go to one to succeed. I'm not saying this to say that, but you do have the diversity of the styles of music you've done, the rock, the folk, blah, blah, blah. Joshua Davis, do I need to say more about that? And I mean, I don't think you need to do it, but it wouldn't hurt you really, because
It
it
wouldn't.
would
It
open up an
wouldn't.
audience that would go, wow, who's this? And then you,
Yeah.
like Josh played big rooms for a while. And I was back to playing the same rooms he was playing before, but with the respect and something on his resume that looks great. So it might not be a bad thing,
Yeah.
but I don't think you need to do it.
Yeah.
So I was just curious where you sat with it, because I mean, you're kind of at that right point of your career where, like, if I did this, it could make a big deal, but it could also like derail you, because I don't think you want to win those competitions. You want to come in second or third, so you still have control. That's what I've heard anyway.
Yeah. And when I was younger, I auditioned for America's Got Talent with my little ukulele. This was before Grace VanderWaal was on the stage, on the America's Got Talent stage, and won it. But I'd go in with my little ukulele. And that was always fun to see all these different actors and stage performers, and I'd talk to them backstage, and then I'd like get up there and play my little ukulele. And I went through a few rounds one year, but that was that.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, ahead in the summer, I know, before that we recording this, we've got Nor'easter coming up. By the time this actually makes people's ears, that'll probably be behind us, depending on how quickly I get this done. Any other festivals that you're playing? Any places that you're really looking forward to?
Yes. Well, I was going to be playing Wheatland, but then since I'm going to USC, I just couldn't get back in time. So that was really sad for me, because I love that festival. It's one of my all-time favorites. Nor'easter and Buttermilk the next weekend. And I think I'm going to be playing Otis Supply tomorrow. But, I mean, this won't get out till then, but
Yeah, tomorrow's behind us now.
that's what I'll be doing.
In the past. And what about the finishing up of the next record? Is there like a projection? I want to be done by September. I want to be done by December. Any like plans, or you're just going with it?
Well, I'm going to have to finish all my recording this month.
Oh.
And so, because I'm going to be in Pennsylvania, and then I'm going to be going to California. And so I wanted to get them all done here in Michigan.
Cool.
And not really.
Okay.
Really.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure, since we're connected, you will connect me with your new record, because actually I pre-ordered it, didn't I? Yes, I did. AspenJacobsen.com with an E-N, not an O-N, because there's different ways to spell Jacobsen, is the best place to find all the awards and honors that you've received over the years, which are plentiful. More congratulations. Gosh, you're doing great. Do you think you have one more song in you? I know it's morning.
Oh.
I know you thought only 3, but here I am springing 4 on you. You know lots of songs. It doesn't have to be one of your new ones. It could be. Or it could be one you haven't even... Maybe it's the one you're recording at Big Sky next week.
It could be.
It's your comfort level. What are you prepared to sing and play?
I'm going to do a more emotional song that I wrote.
I don't have any Kleenex, so
Dear
don't.
Brother.
There's a video for this one.
Look, everybody, there's that misfit kid. Look, everybody, there's that misfit kid. Look, everybody, there's that misfit kid. Look, everybody. You look just like Grandpa with your empty gray eyes, but he died of dementia. You're just stuck in a state of mind. When I wrapped my arms around you, I was scared I'd hurt your ribs, so I sneaked protein in your smoothies, prayed you wouldn't be so thin. And we used to research insects, and you'd colonize our yard. I guess I missed the premonitions. I would have stayed until the dark. Now I call you every evening to make sure you're doing okay. You said I'm terrified of dying, but that's the only way I'll be saved. And I'm sorry that I wasn't a good sister. I'm trying now, but scared that it's no use. this canyon between us is growing bigger. Oh, I just can't find a way back to you. And it's more than a diagnosis, that's what the doctors claim, but they can only triple your dosage, your emotions kept at bay. And it's just so damn hollow, where your passion used to live. Go ahead and take another pill to swallow. We've got nothing else to give. And I'm sorry that I wasn't a good sister. I'm trying now, but scared that it's no use. And this canyon between us is growing bigger. Oh, I just can't find a way back to you. Look, everybody, there's that misfit kid. Look, everybody, there's that misfit kid. Look, everybody, there's that messed up kid. I said, look. I said, look.
Dear brother, Aspen Jacobsen on Acoustic Alternatives. Beautiful tune that I'm afraid to ask about because I don't know if it's true or not. Is it all?
It's all pretty much true. Yeah, my brother has struggled with mental illness, and I have too. And I wrote that song about having a loved one who struggles.
Hugging you across the table.
Air hugs.
Air hugs. Who's working on the record besides Dominic with you?
Dominic. I think, Brad is going to be playing this next session, which will be fun. And I think it's just going to be me and Brad in there. I mean, Dominic's also playing bass. Fats Kaplan and Anthony DaCosta.
Wow, really?
A few songs.
Wow,
yeah.
Great.
So that's going to be really cool.
That's a nice cast.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Well, thank you for spending time with me and letting me learn a little bit more about you and introducing you to fans of what I do. And I don't think I need to wish you success because I think it's coming anyway, but I wish you great success in your career.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. This is a wonderful discussion and talk.
Totally my pleasure. We're at Grove Studios. It's in Ypsilanti. And again, if you're a musician looking for a place to practice, get out of your garage and get into a practice space that is affordable, or if you're a podcaster, like I apparently am, this is another place to do that. And don't have to do it in your home, a little bit more space, as you can see, and you can set up cameras like we did. And I highly recommend it. Grove Studios in Ypsilanti. Check them out online. And thanks to Aspen and for being here. AspenJacobsen.com for more information about her.